1 month out from my next powerlifting competition. We are currently in a deload week. Today I had some deload squats. I'm going to show you my training, but then I'm also going to walk through some of the stuff that I'm dealing with squats. Just kind of walk you through my thought process. Maybe you guys can learn a thing or two from it, and and talk about training and such. So, all right, let's dive right into it. So this right here is going to be a 640-pound squat single. Again, we are on a deload this week, so it felt heavy, but it moved really well. And I mean, this is the heaviest weight I've taken for a deload single, and it's probably the best it's ever moved, for a deload single. So, all right, we'll just run through it, and then I'll talk more about the squat, kind of some of the stuff going through my head as I prepare for some kind of competition. So I spent a lot of time warming up for this set, mainly because I was swapping shoes. If you know anything about me, you know that I have like 20 pairs of shoes, and I'm always trying to figure out which shoes I want to squat in, which shoes I'm going to compete with. I'm really happy with my patience on this set. That's something that I've lost the art of because of all the volume I've been doing. I've been kind of putting a little bit more pressure, but I have my patience. So pretty strong. Very stable. Just put that back here. Really good walkout. So boom, let that bar settle, which will be really important for the new Alico because I think it's like crazy. Good walkout, good. Hold that brace. Boom, contract everything. Boom, fire up. Really not bad, not bad. And I want you to notice how we really didn't hit much of a sticking point with the upper back as we came up. That's really important. Why is it important? Because now I'm going to show you guys squats from previous weeks and show you why I went with these heels, what it is that I've been working with, okay? So I believe I did, so that's right after this. Okay, oh actually here we have the side angle of the 640 squat. Now that I am a month out and I'm officially peaking, even though it's a deload, I want to get two angles. I want to see side angle for depth and then the front angle for depth, but also I can see a little bit more of the flow of the squat. So side angle shows quite a bit. Obviously, some people may think that this is not depth. I mean, guys, my fucking hamstring is literally touching. Let's see if I can get it. Ready? Boom. I mean, that was still even just a little bit. Hold on. Boom. My hamstring is touching it's folded onto my calf. I can't go deeper than that. When you have big ass fucking legs, this is how it is. And this is something that contributes to making decisions with your technique. Do you widen up the stance? Do I angle my feet out more? The problem here is that the more forward you get on the midfoot, the worse your depth is going to be. People think it's going to be better. It's not. Because now you don't have the room of sitting back in order for your hips to sink. Okay? Your hips end up stopping here because you're putting all that pressure towards the front. Whereas if you put that pressure towards the back, now all of a sudden you can shift back. So you'd see my shin angle get a little bit more vertical if I were to put a little bit more weight into the heel, and you'd see my hips go a little bit lower. So that's one little fix. It can be tricky to do. That's why like me squatting in flats can make it a little bit easier because I have more balance, and I also feel way more stable in flats when I go wider, and I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, in terms of depth though, I want to say that this is okay. I mean, we can't see the top of the knee here, but if I had to guess, top of the knee somewhere over here, I want to say that this would be okay. Front angle depth, I think, was more than fine. Let's just double check here. If anything, widening up just a little bit would help with depth here because it'll give my body more room. So what's happening right now is I am pretty narrow. So I have to I run out of room going forwards, which we'll see again on the side angle. And then as I'm compressing down, I don't have room. My hips have to go back instead of down because I just don't have enough room. I can create more room by opening up the hips. One of the easiest ways to open up the hips is just to literally take a little bit of a wider stance, so your hips have more room to be open. And then you can kind of go more down as opposed to hips going back. Okay, so that is an easy fix if I wanted to keep this position. But yeah, I mean, dude, depth looks pretty good from the front, man. I mean, you know, boom. Come on. That looks pretty good. I think that's depth. So that's probably one of the deeper, heavier squats I've taken. So I'm happy with that. But let me just show you real quick before I show you some of the stuff from previous weeks. So I'll walk through some of the squat position stuff, squat technique stuff. Watch that. Boom. Knees are going to watch the knees. The knees are going to run out of room, and then my hips end up going back, as opposed to everything kind of happening in unison. Again, that can kind of be fixed if I were to widen up just a little bit. But it creates a problem because when my knees run out of room, now my hips have to break, my butt has to go back, and I have to hinge more, which then creates an issue coming back up, right? And then that's when I have to like fight with my back. Now, in these heels, sometimes that can be exaggerated. The hip dip can be exaggerated because you're in heels, so the heels make you want to be more forward because you're literally on a slant. The benefit to the heels, though, is it should be a little bit easier to stay more upright. So when you're battling through that position, I can stay more upright. I can use more of my legs. Whereas in flats, if that happens, I'm using a lot more of my back. So, because you're not as upright. Boom. Yeah. Okay. So, this video here is 690 about. This is about 688 or 688 to be exact, about 690. I took this last week for a double, okay? I'm wearing flats here, same foot position, but I also have these very small VersaLift heels in the shoe. So that's what you don't see. Boom, not bad. Obviously very difficult. I was fucking shot. Boom. Probably the best technically executed heavy double I think I've ever hit. I've hit my heaviest double to date is like 725 for 2, but the technique looks absolutely atrocious. So this was probably the best technically sound double I've hit. Now, obviously it was very hard, but what I was worried about with this, we're going to see in other squats. What I was worried about with this, I'll show you, aside from just depth, which I think depth was okay here, truthfully, but, you know, I think depth was okay. So, but boom, that spot right there. And we'll see more on the second round. Ready? Boom. I mean, that position right here. Now with heels, I'm telling you, this could be even more exaggerated. The butt could be even further back, which is a huge fucking problem. That sucks. You don't want to fight from that position. However, the trade-off is that I may not have to be as hinged here and not feel like I have to use as much of my back and stall right here. Because in the heels, hypothetically, I should be able to stay more upright. It should be a little bit easier for me. So as long as I maintain my brace in my position, even if this happens, it should be a little bit easier for me to fight through this as opposed to using a lot of my back for this position. All right. Again, I think depth looked pretty good. So the good news is, like, look, I can squat in either. We'll see what my coach says. I'm gonna have to fucking decide pretty soon. So this is 650, so a little bit more than what we took for our deload single. This was 650 I took on my week 2 of last block, and I took this for 3. Again, was pretty fatigued, was pretty hard. Probably not my best set with 650, but overall, you know, not terrible either. But I want you to notice something, okay? Watch the torso. There this squat. Boom. See how much I'm struggling there? Ready? Same thing, by the way. I have the small little heels in there. Boom. See that? Do you see that? Where one more rep, you're going to see this even more. That right there. You see that? This is, I felt all of this in my posterior chain. All of this was in my low back especially, but my upper back as well. And it's small, but it matters because when this is 750, can I grind from here? Can my back take this much heat? Whereas if I just had that elevated heel, it's possible I would have stayed a little bit more upright and it would be easier for me to use my legs as opposed to feeling like I have to use my back. Now, the other caveat to that is widen up. Widen up and angle the feet out. The problem with that is you need the hip mobility for it and you need the stability. And, you know, I don't have great hip mobility. I've been working on it, but I don't have great hips. My hips are all fucked up. And it can be hard to hit depth with that, you know, super wide stance. I also have never truly hit some crazy numbers with that super wide stance. So, you know, it's a toss up. But that was a tough set. Now I'm going to show you the last squat video before we move on to the rest of the lifts and then pretty much done. This is literally 640. Now I took this as the week 4 for not last block, but the week before, the block before that. So this was the heaviest week of 2 blocks ago. And I believe this was a set of 5 or 4. I forget. We're going to find out. But see how I'm wider here? I don't think I'm using the VersaLift heels in this. I don't think I am. I'm pretty sure I'm not. But see how I'm a little bit, I'm not a little bit, like I'm probably a solid foot span wider on either side, and I'm a little bit more angled out, okay? What that does is it creates more room for my torso, for my body to just go straight down as opposed to hinge, right? See, I'm struggling just a little bit less with the upper back and the low back. The problem is it's hard for me to hit depth there. I have to like kind of dunk it. And, you know, there's no saying that like I can fight from this position, ready? That position right there. See how my knees already kind of want to come in? See this shin angle here? Kind of already wants to be closer to here. All right. There's no saying that when this is 740 or 770, I can fight from this position, because it's very possible that my body, my legs, they need to be just under me more, right? And so as a result of that, a more narrow stance might be important for me to be able to fight through really hard squats. You know, I hate to say it, you can take educated guesses based on training, but you really truly won't know until you are lifting super heavy weights. Now, the one thing I will say is my hips are kind of fucked up. There are some asymmetries and shit like that. You can already tell I'm shifting to the right here onto this leg. It's not great. I've done it all the time. My right leg, all the time. My right hip is so fucked. But I'm working on it. So, but my point is this: the cure potentially is to, you know, go wider and just try and really open up. But again, I just don't know if that's really going to hold up. Like, I would call it the Ashton squat. If you've ever seen Ashton squat, he squats super wide, super angled out, and just compresses everything downwards. And it looks so strong for him. The problem is, and this is where you get into trouble if you start comparing yourself to other lifters and trying to just base your shit off of only that. The problem, guys, is Ashton has way different levers than I do. So the principles of the squat stay the same, right? His footing, the bracing, tight upper back, all of that, all those principles stay the same. That's applied to everybody. But the way that that expresses itself in each lifter is going to look different because we all look different. Easy example here is if you look at Ashton's legs relative to his torso is like half of the full length of his legs. Okay, he does not have a long torso. He does have long legs. Why does that matter? Because when he squats the way he squats, his torso can literally fit into his legs. If you watch him squat, his like ribs basically touch his thighs. That cannot happen with me. My torso is too long, and my legs aren't long enough. My femurs aren't long enough. So point is, you know, it would be easy for me to say, oh, well, it works for him, so it should work for me. But it may not be the case. And that's not even taking into account pre-existing injuries, your own mobility limitations, all of that shit, right? So once you take it all into account, before you know it, you've got this, you know, medley of reasons as to why, you know, what one person does may not be what's going to work for you. Diet Pepsi. So I think that's enough analyzing the squat. I just wanted you guys to see my thought process when it comes to, you know, what I'm doing right now. Yeah, see that grind right there? Do we have one more rep? Let's see. What was this, 5? I don't even know. A little bit of a breakdown. A little bit of a breakdown right now. And that's really what you want to look for, is like, when shit gets hard, what position am I fighting through? At some point, things are going to break down. You're going to have to fight through a position. The question is, can you maintain your position as you're fighting through it? I will say that flats give me the ability to stay more balanced and stable as I grind through a hard squat. But it's really tough, man. Like, it's just not, I don't know. You know, I don't know the true answer just yet. But we'll see what the coach thinks. My coach, if I had to guess, is going to want me to be in these with the small VersaLift heel. Like, this exact technique is probably what it's going to want. My only fear is that this makes it really hard on my back. My only other fear is just really depth. But I mean, this looked pretty good. This did look pretty good. So, you know, you really don't know. Okay. So that's squats, guys. I don't know what the plan is. I haven't got my program for the peak yet, but I'll finally be able to chill on the volume, dude. Like my body has been so fatigued every single week. It's a good kind of fatigue, but that's really put like a governor almost on my training output. Still been able to hit some big stuff despite no true crazy PRs just yet, but it makes sense. It makes sense. So keeping the work. Okay, we have only two other things to show you guys. I did not film the rest of my accessories except for the videos. That's it. If you guys like these styles of videos, let me know. My plan is to do some training vlogs, but do them similar to this, where I'll film my training, film accessories and shit like that, and then just voice over them or talk about them and stuff. So if you like this style, just let me know. I feel like it's definitely better than talking during the training, because when I'm training, I want to focus on training. And yeah, so, and I don't want to have to like find some shitty copyright free music to play over this stuff. You know what I mean? So, okay. So this is only 375, deload week, 2 sets of 8 to 10. I think I hit like 11 or 12 on this first set. By the way, I just want to say, bro, look how fucking smooth my double position is. I felt that. So, really just focusing on the brace here. See how neutral I try to keep my back. I am trying to tighten my lats, even though it doesn't really look like I'm really fucking trying something. But anyway, so yeah, the goal here, be in control, lengthen the hamstring, really focus on the glute here as well, let that stretch. Maybe a slight pause right here. You can tempo these if you want to a little bit. Really trying to make sure too that I'm not letting the bar just hang, even though I'm using grips here. We really want to make sure we're still using our hands. And then the biggest thing really is just breathing and bracing. People forget to breathe and brace on these. But yeah, I don't even know how many reps I did. I was just looking in the mirror to check my torso angle. Because guys, if you treat this the way you would treat like a really heavy squat or a deadlift, you'll get more carryover. You don't want to get lazy with these movements, okay? You really do want to make sure you're keeping the lats tight, keeping the erect, like everything's got to be what it would be if it was a heavy lift. So yeah, pretty easy. I recently actually purchased these new gen Notorious lifts. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. I thought they looked dope, and I've been lifting in my TYRs forever. I love TYR, but I've been lifting in them forever. I wanted something new. I saw this ad, and Elliot, the 74, who I'm a big fan of. I really like Elliot. I just think he's a good kid, and I don't know. I support him. And yeah, so I know he's sponsored by them, and so yeah. And also too, my coach is Colton the Limit Breaker, who's also sponsored by Notorious, and he wears these. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, like they look dope. And honestly, I really like them. These right now are probably the best blend I've found between like a legitimate training shoe and a flat like slipper kind of. Most other stuff feels either too much like a slipper or too much like a shoe, or not enough of a shoe. These actually felt really good. Now, I don't know how they're going to hold up, but I actually did really like these. Free promo, I guess, for them. But I did really like these. We'll see how they hold up when I deadlift. But grip was definitely a little bit better than the TYRs, I think. Yeah, I like them.
Okay, so...
Oh, yeah. So this video here, great place to pause. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear what I'm saying. Maybe I'll crank the volume just so you can hear it. But let this be a note for you guys. If in training you do something and you're like, yo, something just clicked, or damn, that felt like shit, and you can point to a reason as to why, or reasons plural, make notes of them. I put notes in my phone. I record videos like that of me talking myself through it. So, because that's how you will not only, you'll probably rarely ever go back in time to rewatch it, but that's also like a way for you to re-ingrain it in your mind, and that's how you'll remember it. So I literally took that video because the way that I picked up the bar here, when I initially deadlifted, it felt weightless. And I know it's only 375, but for a deload week when I already feel beat up, that's a win. It felt fucking weightless. And recently conventional has been feeling pretty hard because my back's been beat up. And so sumo's really felt so much better. But the truth is, what I did here, can apply to sumo as well. And I know exactly what I did. I felt it. And dude, like it just changed the way the movement felt. So I decided to film myself talking about it. Fuck it. Well, let's listen to it. Let's see if we can hear it. So for conventional, wider stance a little bit, drive the knees forward, and really focus on a ton of extension. Get down, set the grip, and then even more, just more extension. To neutralize that, not to pull the slack, and then push through the floor. Yeah. So if you guys couldn't hear it, all I said was walking through that. I had to cue the fuck out of extension. Like I had to arch the shit out of my back. Pause. During the setup, and that kept my back protected, but also helped me pull the slack and just felt so good, which is what I used to do, but I've kind of like lost that a little bit because I focused more on the lats. But yeah, dude, that felt so good. And then like being in that position, although it feels a little awkward, it also helps me focus on the quads. The way I would describe it is like if you were doing a leg press, my conventional feels like a leg press. That's how I coach the conventional. I will always coach it like that. I do not believe in a conventional that is purely posterior chain. At that point, you were doing a stiff leg deadlift, which is fine if that's how you want to do it, but there's no way that that's optimal because you're literally taking out or not using a massive muscle group that you can use, which is your quads. So the more knee flexion you get, the more quads you get to have. And in order to do that, you can't, have a straight leg. You can't have a stiff leg. So I coach the deadlift like a leg press, so that's what I like to look for. The problem that you can run into is you can use your legs like a leg press in the conventional, but if you don't set your back up properly, it feels terrible. It feels like you're pulling with your back. And so instead, if you were on a leg press and you had the heaviest set of your life, and if you've done this, you grab each fucking side, right? And you breathe in, you brace, but what do you usually do? You extend because why? You're tightening your back. You're getting yourself ready. Right? And you have a proud chest. Watch yourself. Film a really heavy, hard set. You're never like this, leg pressing really hard and heavy, right? So why would my deadlift be like that, especially conventional, when the goal is to mimic or recreate some sort of position or experience similar to the leg press? So it makes sense and it really feels good. It keeps everything in the quad. There's no lower back. It feels great. So I wanted to make a note of that. That's pretty much the video, guys. So let me know if you guys like this style here. In the future, I'll have like a little bit more of a higher quality setup. I'm also going to be balancing my videos with some podcast style clips. I'm probably going to film them at night so you guys get like a nice nighttime city glow view. It's beautiful. And we'll talk about like mindset stuff and just life stuff and all that shit. But training vlog wise, I feel like this could work. In the future, I'll have more accessories and shit filmed. And maybe if I do a collab with somebody or if I'm feeling it, we can just talk during the training video. But I just feel like nobody wants to hear all that. You know what I mean? So let's watch this shit one more time. Let's see. Before we go. Good. Come on. Good brace. Great brace, really. That's the only thing I'm worried about, guys. Is that right there. So I come down, and then hips have to go back and then dip down. I don't like that. I want it to just come straight down. I want it to compress straight down. So there are some fixes. I do think widening up maybe just the hair will help with that. Yeah. But the brace was good, man. The brace was good. We didn't really have butt wave or anything. That was good. I could widen up just a hair. That should help. Yeah. Sit into the heels a little bit more. Anyway, yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Wish me luck. We got 1 month left. The goal as of right now is about a 915 kilo total. That's like the baseline conservative goal. The goal is to hit that on like seconds and thirds, so to speak. Really like by second deadlift. And then after that, see what else is in the tank, But really no need to like go super crazy at this meet. We're not really even peaking that hard for it because the goal is to build into nationals. So, yeah. Cool, guys. Catch you next time. Peace.